That one day my parents will see how much I do. That Monica will stop treating me like an ATM with legs. That Charlie will be included, celebrated, remembered. But deep down, I know the truth. I am not their son. I am their safety net. Monica is not my sister. She is their priority. And Charlie, my sweet, quiet boy, is just an afterthought. 3 weeks ago, my mother called. She wanted to plan a family dinner. Somewhere nice, she said. Somewhere we could all be together. She suggested I pick the place and make the reservation. I should have known then. I should have heard the unspoken expectation in her voice. But I did not. Or maybe I did. And I ignored it, hoping this time would be different. I picked Marconi's, an upscale Italian place downtown. The kind of restaurant where appetizers cost $20 and entrees push $40. I made a reservation for 8 people. 2 adults, my parents, 2 adults, Monica and her husband, 3 kids, Monica's children, and 2, me and Charlie. My mother thanked me on the phone. She said it sounded perfect. She said she was proud of me for being so thoughtful. I felt warm hearing that. Proud, valued. I should have known better. The dinner was set for Saturday night, 6 o'clock. I told Charlie we were going somewhere special. He asked if he could wear his button-up shirt, the one with the stripes. I said yes. He smiled the whole drive there. We arrived at Marconi's 15 minutes early. The restaurant glowed with warm lighting and soft jazz playing in the background. The hostess led us to a private dining area in the back, a long table set with white linens and folded napkins shaped like swans. Charlie's eyes went wide. He whispered, "Dad, this place is fancy." I squeezed his shoulder. "You deserve fancy." My parents arrived next. My father wore a blazer. My mother had her hair done. They greeted me with quick hugs, the kind that barely touch. My mother bent down to Charlie. "Oh, you are getting so big," she said, though her smile did not quite reach her eyes. Monica and her family arrived 10 minutes late. Her kids, 2 boys and a girl, ran straight to the table without saying hello. Monica hugged Mom like they had not seen each other in years, even though I knew they had lunch together 2 days ago. Her husband, Greg, shook my father's hand and clapped him on the back. No one acknowledged me. We sat down. Charlie was between me and my mother. Monica's kids were across from us, loud and restless. The waiter came by with menus and a smile. My father ordered an expensive bottle of wine. Monica's husband ordered a whiskey. My mother asked about the chef's special. Monica's kids demanded chicken fingers, even though this was not that kind of restaurant. I ordered a pasta for myself and asked Charlie what he wanted. He looked at the menu, overwhelmed by the choices. "Can I have the ravioli?" he asked quietly. "Of course," I said. The waiter smiled at him. "Good choice, young man." Then my mother leaned over and flagged down the waiter before he left. "Can we get a juice box for the kids?" The waiter nodded. "Of course, how many?" 3, my mother said, gesturing to Monica's children. I blinked. Charlie would like one too. My mother waved her hand. "He is fine." The waiter looked between us, uncertain. I repeated myself. "Charlie would like a juice box as well." My mother's mouth tightened, but she said nothing. The waiter left. When he returned, he carried a small tray with 4 juice boxes. He placed 3 in front of Monica's kids and 1 in front of Charlie. Charlie reached for it, his small hands careful. Before he could pick it up, my mother reached over and took it. "Your son can drink tap water," she said, handing the juice box to Monica's youngest daughter. I stared at her. "Excuse me?" My father, seated at the head of the table, did not even look up from his menu. He should learn not everything is for him. The table went quiet for a moment. Monica smirked into her wine glass. Greg scrolled on his phone. Charlie pulled his hands back into his lap, his face blank. I felt something crack inside me. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet snap, like a bone under pressure. I did not raise my voice. I did not argue. I did not make a scene. I just said, "All right." The conversation moved on. My mother started talking to Monica about some trip they were planning. My father asked Greg about work. The kids fought over breadsticks. Charlie sat next to me, hands folded in his lap, staring at the empty placemat in front of him. I reached over and poured him a glass of water from the pitcher. He took it without a word. The food came. Plates piled high with lobster ravioli, filet mignon, truffle risotto, rack of lamb. Monica's kids barely touched their chicken fingers, too busy throwing napkins at each other. My parents ate slowly, savoring every bite of their expensive meals. Charlie ate his ravioli quietly. I watched him chew, his face expressionless. When the plates were cleared, my mother ordered dessert for the table. Tiramisu, cannoli, chocolate lava cake, 3 slices for Monica's kids. None offered to Charlie. I felt the weight of the evening pressing down on me. But I stayed calm. I stayed silent. Then the waiter appeared at my father's elbow, a black leather folder in his hand. "Whenever you're ready, sir," the waiter said, placing the bill on the table. My father did not reach for it. Neither did Greg. They both looked at me. That was when I stood up. I did not sit back down. I pulled my wallet from my jacket pocket and opened the black leather folder. The receipt sat inside, crisp white paper with black ink. $340. Plus tip, it would come to $400, maybe more. I read every line. The wine my father ordered, $60. The whiskey for Greg, $18. My mother's lobster tail, $45. Monica's filet, $52. The rack of lamb Greg ate without offering anyone a bite, $68. 3 orders of tiramisu, $8 each. 2 lava cakes, 10 each. And at the bottom, 2 items. Cheese ravioli, $12. 1 pasta primavera, $14. Mine and Charlie's. I looked at the table. My parents were watching me. Monica had her phone out, half paying attention. Greg leaned back in his chair, full and content. The kids were loud, throwing sugar packets at each other. Charlie sat next to me, small and still. I pulled out my credit card. I placed it on top of the receipt. Then I turned to the waiter who hovered nearby. "I need you to split this bill," I said quietly. The waiter nodded. "Of course, sir. How would you like it split?" 2 items, the cheese ravioli and the pasta primavera. Ring those up separately. Everything else stays on one check. The waiter's eyes flicked to my father, then back to me. He understood. "Right away, sir." He disappeared with the folder. My father frowned. "What are you doing?" I did not answer. My mother set down her coffee cup. "Derek?" I stayed quiet. Monica finally looked up from her phone. "What is going on?" Greg straightened in his chair. "You are splitting the bill?" I met his eyes. "Yes." My mother laughed, but it sounded thin. "That is ridiculous. We are family." "Exactly," as I said. The waiter returned with 2 receipts. One was small, $28 total, mine and Charlie's meals. The other was thick, over $300. Everyone else. I signed mine. I added a 20% tip. I slid it back to the waiter. Then I picked up the second receipt and placed it in front of my father. "This one is yours," I said. My father's face went red. "You are not serious." "I am." My mother's voice rose. "You invited us here. You made the reservation." "I did," I said. "And I paid for myself and my son. You ordered for yourselves. You can pay for yourselves." Monica stood up, her chair scraping loud against the floor. "This is insane. You make more money than any of us." "Then you should have no trouble covering your meal," I said. Greg's jaw tightened. "We did not bring our wallets. We thought you were paying." I looked at him. "That is not my problem." My father slapped the table. "You are embarrassing this family." "No," I said, my voice calm. "You embarrassed my son. You took his juice box. You told him he does not deserve what you gave to everyone else. And you expected me to smile and pay for it." I reached for Charlie's hand. He took it immediately, his small fingers wrapping around mine. I looked at my parents, at Monica, at Greg. "Enjoy your dinner," I said. Then I walked out. Charlie stayed close to my side as we crossed the restaurant. Behind us, I heard my mother's voice rising, panicked. My father shouting at the waiter. Monica arguing with Greg. I did not look back. When we reached the car, I buckled Charlie into his seat. He looked up at me, his face confused. "Dad, are they mad at us?" I crouched down next to him. "They are mad at themselves." He thought about that. "Are we going home?" "Yes," I said. "We are going home." I closed his door. I got in the driver's seat, and for the first time in 8 years, I felt like I could breathe. I could not sleep that night. Charlie went to bed easily. He brushed his teeth, put on his pajamas, and climbed under his covers without asking about the restaurant again. I read him 2 chapters of his favorite book, kissed his forehead, and turned off the light. But when I went to my own room, I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. My phone had been buzzing since we left Marconi's. Text after text, call after call. I ignored all of it. Finally, at midnight, I got up and went to the kitchen. I poured myself a glass of water and sat at the table. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. I thought about my childhood. I thought about being 10 years old and watching my parents drive Monica to her piano recital while I stayed home because there was no room in the car. I thought about being 14 and working weekends at the grocery store so I could buy my own school supplies while Monica got a new laptop for her birthday. I thought about being 17 and hearing my father say, "Monica is going to make something of herself. You, Derek, you are just steady." Steady. That was the word he used. Not smart, not talented, steady. Translation: reliable enough to be useful, but not special enough to celebrate. When I turned 18, I moved out. I worked 2 jobs and put myself through school. My parents did not offer to help. They said I was capable. They said I would figure it out. Monica stayed home until she was 25. Rent-free, bills paid, no questions asked. When I graduated and got my first real job, my father shook my hand and said, "Good. Now maybe you can help out around here." That was 12 years ago. Since then, I have sent money every few months. Sometimes it is a couple $100. Sometimes it is a couple thousand. I stopped keeping track after a while because it hurt too much to see the total. My mother calls it family support. My father calls it giving back. I call it what it is, being used. But I did it anyway, because I thought maybe if I gave enough, they would see me, really see me, not as the backup plan or the wallet, but as their son. Tonight proved I was wrong. They did not see me. They saw a credit card with my name on it. And Charlie, my sweet, quiet boy, he did not even register to them. He was just an inconvenience, a mouth they did not want to feed. I picked up my phone and opened the messages. My mother had sent 5 texts. "You humiliated us. How could you do that in public? Your father had to borrow money from Greg to pay the bill. You owe us an apology. Call me back, now." I deleted them without responding. Monica sent 3 messages. "You are such a selfish jerk. Mom is crying because of you. Do not expect us to invite you to anything, ever again." I deleted those 2. My father sent 1 message. "You are not my son." I stared at that one for a long time. Then I deleted it. I set my phone face down on the table. I finished my water. I sat in the silence of my apartment, the place I paid for with my own money, the place where my son slept safely in his own bed. And I realized something. They were wrong. I was not selfish. I was done. There is a difference. I got up, rinsed my glass, and went to bed. For the first time in years, I slept through the night. Monday morning, I woke up with clarity. I made Charlie breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast. He ate while I packed his lunch. Turkey sandwich, apple slices, a juice box. I made sure to buy the good kind, the ones with no added sugar. I dropped him off at school. He hugged me before getting out of the car. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too, buddy." Then I drove to work. At my desk, I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank accounts. I logged into my parents' utility account, the one linked to my card for automatic payments. Electric bill, water bill, internet. I had been covering all 3 for the past 2 years. I clicked on each one. I removed my payment method. I updated the contact information back to my father's name and email. It took less than 5 minutes. Next, I opened the car insurance portal. My mother's car was on my policy because it saved her money. I called the customer service line. "Hi, I need to remove a vehicle from my policy." The representative asked a few questions. I provided the information. Within 10 minutes, my mother's car was off my plan. Her coverage would lapse at the end of the month. "Is there anything else I can help you with today?" the representative asked. "No, that is everything." I hung up. Then I checked my subscriptions, streaming services. My parents had access to my Netflix, Hulu, and HBO accounts. I logged into each one and removed their profiles. I changed the passwords. By lunchtime, I had disconnected every automatic payment, every shared account, every financial thread that tied me to my parents. I did not send an email. I did not make a call. I just severed the links, clean and quiet. That evening, my phone rang. It was my mother. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. She sent a text. The internet is not working. Did you forget to pay the bill? I did not respond. An hour later, my father called. I declined it. He sent a message. The car insurance company sent a cancellation notice. Fix this. I deleted the text. 2 days later, Monica called. I did not answer. She left a voicemail. Mom is freaking out. What is going on? Why are you being like this? Call me back. I did not call back. By the end of the week, my mother had sent 12 messages. My father had sent 6. Monica had sent 8. I read none of them. I was not angry. I was not bitter. I was just done wasting energy on people who only remembered I existed when the bills came due. Charlie and I spent the weekend at the park. We fed the ducks. We got ice cream. We went to the bookstore and he picked out 3 new books. On Sunday night, I tucked him into bed and he looked up at me. Dad, are Grandma and Grandpa still mad? I do not know, I said honestly, but it does not matter. Why? Because we are okay. You and me. We do not need anyone else to be okay. He thought about that, then nodded. I like it when it is just us. Me too, buddy. I kissed his forehead and turned off the light. When I got back to my room, I checked my phone one last time. My mother had sent a final text. You are breaking this family apart. I read it. Then I typed a response. I am not breaking anything. I am just stopping the payments. I hit send. Then I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The messages kept coming. Voicemails piled up. Emails appeared in my inbox, longer and more desperate each time. But I did not respond. Instead, I did something I should have done years ago. I started gathering proof. Saturday afternoon, while Charlie was at a friend's house for a play date, I sat at my desk with my laptop, a notepad, and a folder I labeled Family Finances. I started with my bank statements. I went back 3 years, downloading every transaction, every transfer, every automatic payment. I opened a spreadsheet and began categorizing them. Rent assistance for my parents, $4,000 over 2 years. Utility payments, electric, water, internet, $2,300. Car repairs for my mother's vehicle, $1,700 across 5 separate invoices. Medical copays, $800. Emergency travel expenses, flights to visit Monica and the kids when one of them got sick or had a birthday or a school event. $3,200. Credit card payments. I had bailed them out twice when they could not make the minimums. $5,500 total. Then there were the smaller things. Streaming services, subscriptions, phone bills, groceries delivered to their house when my mother said they were tight on cash. I added it all up. $21,400 over 3 years. I stared at that number. I tried to feel something. Anger, maybe, regret. But all I felt was tired. Next, I opened my email. I searched for every message from my parents, every request for money, every thank you that never led to payback, every promise to get me back next month that turned into silence. I printed them, all of them. I put them in the folder. Then I searched for messages from Monica. She had borrowed money twice, once for her son's braces, once for a down payment on their new couch. I printed those too. I pulled up my insurance portal and downloaded the policy history showing my mother's car on my plan. I printed the cancellation notice. I logged into the utility accounts. I took screenshots of the billing history with my card attached. I printed those. By the time I finished, the folder was 2 inches thick. I sat back in my chair and looked at it. This was not rage. This was not revenge. This was just the truth, documented and undeniable. I thought about what I would do with this. Part of me wanted to mail it to them. Let them see in black and white exactly how much I had given, how little they had appreciated it. But another part of me knew they would not care. They would find a way to twist it, to make me the villain, to say I was keeping score, being petty, holding grudges. So I decided I would not send it to them. I would keep it, for me. as proof that I was not crazy, that I was not selfish, that I had every right to walk away. I closed the folder and put it in my desk drawer. Then I pulled up my calendar. I had a meeting scheduled with my financial advisor in 2 weeks. I sent him an email asking if we could move it up. I wanted to talk about reorganizing my accounts, setting up a trust for Charlie, making sure everything I worked for went to him and only him. He responded within an hour. Absolutely. How about Monday morning? I confirmed. That evening, I picked Charlie up from his playdate. He was happy, talking nonstop about the video games he played and the snacks they had. We had pizza rolls, Dad, and juice boxes. 3 juice boxes. I smiled. Sounds like a good time. It was the best. When we got home, I made dinner. Spaghetti with marinara, his favorite. We ate together at the kitchen table, and he told me about school, about his teacher, about the book he was reading. He did not ask about my parents. He did not mention the restaurant. He was happy, content, safe. That was all that mattered. Later, after he went to bed, I sat on the couch and opened my laptop. I pulled up my bank account one more time. I looked at the balance. Strong, stable, mine. For the first time in years, I was not supporting anyone but myself and my son. It felt good. 3 weeks after the restaurant, they showed up at my door. It was a Thursday evening. Charlie and I had just finished dinner. He was in his room playing with his action figures. I was loading the dishwasher when I heard the knock. Firm, insistent. I dried my hands and walked to the door. I looked through the peephole. My parents, both of them. I considered not answering, but I knew they would not leave. My mother would call. My father would knock again, louder. I opened the door, but did not invite them in. Derek, my mother said, her voice tight. We need to talk. About what? I asked. You know what? My father said. He looked older than I remembered, tired. You cut us off. No warning, no explanation. I gave you an explanation, I said, at the restaurant. My mother's eyes filled with tears. That was 3 weeks ago. You have not answered our calls. You have not responded to our messages. You just disappeared. I did not disappear, I said. I stopped paying your bills. My father stepped closer. You have a responsibility to this family. No, I said, my voice calm. I had a responsibility to myself and my son. I have been meeting that responsibility. What you are talking about is obligation, and I do not owe you that. My mother wiped her eyes. We raised you. We gave you everything. I almost laughed. Almost. But I kept my face neutral. You gave Monica everything, I said. You gave me expectations. That is not fair, she said. Fair, I repeated. You took a juice box out of my son's hands and gave it to Monica's kids. You told him he should learn that not everything is for him, and you expected me to sit there, smile, and pay for your meals. That is not fair. My father's jaw tightened. You are being dramatic. No, I said. I am being clear. I am done funding your life. I am done being the backup plan. I am done being ignored until you need money. We never ignored you, my mother said, her voice shaking. I pulled my phone from my pocket. I opened my photos and showed her a picture. It was from last Christmas. Monica's kids surrounded by presents. Charlie in the corner with his dollar store coloring book. This is ignoring, I said. She looked at the photo, then looked away. You are our son, my father said, his voice low. You do not turn your back on family. You turned your back on my son, I said. You turned your back on me every time you chose Monica over me. Every time you asked for money without saying thank you. Every time you made me feel like my only value was what I could give. My mother reached for my arm. I stepped back. Please, she said. We are sorry. We did not realize. Yes, you did, I said. You just did not care. My father's face turned red. So that is it? You are cutting us out? I am setting boundaries, I said. You can be in my life and Charlie's life, but not as lenders and borrowers, not as people who only call when they need something. If you want a relationship, it has to be real, equal, respectful. And if we cannot do that, he asked. I met his eyes. Then we are done. Silence. My mother sobbed quietly. My father stared at me like I was a stranger. "You have changed," he said finally. "No," I said. "I just stopped pretending." I stepped back and began to close the door. "Derek, wait," my mother said. I paused. "We can try," she said, her voice breaking. "We can do better." I looked at her. I wanted to believe it. I wanted to think that maybe finally they would see me. But I had wanted that my whole life, and it never happened. "Prove it," I said. "Do not call me asking for money. Do not text me with emergencies that require cash. Show up for Charlie. Remember his birthday. Treat him the way you treat Monica's kids. Do that, and maybe we can talk." "And if we do?" my father asked. "Then we will see," I said. I closed the door. I stood there, my hand on the knob, listening to them on the other side. I heard my mother crying. I heard my father muttering something I could not make out. Then I heard their footsteps, walking away. I locked the door. I went back to the kitchen. I finished loading the dishwasher. Charlie came out of his room. "Who was that?" "Grandma and Grandpa," I said. "Are they staying for dessert?" "No," I said. "They had to go." "Okay," he said, unbothered. "Can I have ice cream?" "Sure, buddy." I scooped him a bowl. We sat on the couch together and watched cartoons, and I felt lighter than I had in years. 2 months passed. My parents did not call. They did not text. They did not show up at my door. Monica sent one final message. "You destroyed this family." I did not respond. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that my parents had to downsize. They sold the house I grew up in and moved into a smaller apartment. My father picked up part-time work. My mother started budgeting. I felt nothing when I heard that. No guilt, no satisfaction, just a quiet sense of distance. Monica's family struggled too. Without my parents as a financial cushion and without me as a backup, they had to cut back. Fewer vacations, fewer luxuries. I heard one of the kids had to switch to public school. Again, I felt nothing. They made their choices. They treated me like an ATM. Now they had to live without one. Charlie and I built a new life. I took him to the Science Museum on Saturdays. We went hiking on Sundays. We cooked dinner together every night, trying new recipes and laughing when we messed them up. I started putting more money into his college fund. I opened a trust. I met with my financial advisor and set everything up so that no matter what happened, Charlie would be taken care of. I also started saying no at work. I stopped taking on extra projects just to prove myself. I left the office at 5. I spent my evenings with my son. People noticed. My boss asked if everything was okay. I said yes, better than okay. One Saturday, 3 months after the restaurant, I took Charlie to the park. We brought a soccer ball and kicked it back and forth on the open field. He was getting better. His aim was improving. His confidence was growing. At one point, the ball rolled toward another family. A father, a mother, 2 kids. The father kicked it back to us with a smile. "Nice kick, buddy," he said to Charlie. Charlie grinned. "Thanks." The father waved at me. I waved back. That was it. Just a small, normal interaction. But it felt significant because it reminded me that family is not just blood. It is the people who show up, the people who see you, the people who make space for you at the table without expecting payment. Charlie and I did not need my parents. We did not need Monica. We had each other, and that was enough. That evening after Charlie went to bed, I sat on the balcony with a cup of coffee. The city lights stretched out in front of me. The air was cool. The world felt big and open and full of possibility. I thought about the restaurant, about the moment I stood up and split the bill, about the look on my father's face when I walked out. I did not regret it. I thought about the folder in my desk drawer, the proof, the receipts, the documented evidence of everything I gave. I did not need it anymore. I got up, went inside, and pulled the folder out. I stood over the recycling bin and flipped through the pages one last time. Then I let them go. All of them, every bank statement, every email, every printed transaction. I did not need proof. I knew my truth. I went back to the balcony and sat down. My phone buzzed. A text from Charlie's school. Reminder about parent-teacher conferences next week. I replied, "I will be there." I set the phone down and looked out at the city again. Somewhere out there, my parents were figuring out their own lives. Monica was managing hers, And I was here, in my home, with my son sleeping safely in the next room. I was not the family wallet anymore. I was not the backup plan. I was not the forgotten son. I was Derek, a father, a provider for the people who mattered, and I was free.